Well, hello! It's me, I have returned. I'm about to be slightly less, how you say, family friendly than normal. Only slightly though. Nothing too terrible, I hope. But you know, if you don't like it, I'm not gonna force you to do anything. You're allowed to make your choices. All that being said, alright, we're making a man. A man who's tall, whose name is Dan. And he's Jewish. Singer, songwriter, member of, Game Grumps, The Grumps, Starbomb, and lead singer of Ninja Sex Party. Today we're making Danny Sexbang from Ninja Sex Party. So first, I had to make a decision. Danny has quite an array of outfits. A few of my favorites are the ones from Rocket Man, Danny Don't You Know, and Orgy for One. After a few discussions with some friends and a lot of thinking, I decided to go with the costume from Orgy for One, because it would look good in miniature, and that's also the first music video of theirs I ever saw, so you know, that took me down some kind of, I don't know, drug-induced coma. For this custom, I will be using Monster High's Deuce Gorgon. His face sculpt is actually pretty perfect. It's really accurate to Danny's facial structure. As I took off his factory-given outfit, I noticed that his knees were super broken. Human knees are not supposed to bend like that, if you weren't aware. I got him in a used lot with 3 other guys, and I talked to the seller, and it really was an honest mistake. Since he was, you know, wearing full pants, the damage was not visible in the slightest. But to anyone that's selling used dolls, make sure you check all the joints. It turned out to be an easy fix, but it was a lot of time put towards something that I wasn't prepared for. So like normal, I take off his face paint and the scales on his arms with 100% acetone. And I also took out the piercing, which has a cool little shape to it. Didn't know about that, but that's interesting. I spent some time sanding down all the plastic seams on his arms, legs, and back just to give him more humanness, and then I tackled his broken legs. I tried pulling out the peg that swivels from the thigh, but that was very, very stuck in place. In the end, I had to break the peg that enables the knee to bend. Which was pulled out in the first place previously, so, you know, this is where we're at right now in our current situation. So how I fixed this is I chose a thick gauge of wire, and then I get a needle that's about the same size. I heat up the needle in an open flame and feed it through the hole on the inside part of the knee. I put those 2 pieces together, and then I melt a hole through the other half of the leg. I clean everything up, and I put the 2 pieces through the loop that comes from his thigh, as you do, and through the 2 holes I made, I feed the wire in. And that acts as a no longer broken hinge for the loop to bend at. I'm a genius. I glue everything together, and then I cover it all with a thin layer of epoxy. Now the legs are straight, and they hold a pose all by themselves, which is, more than I can say for myself. Now I tackle his snake mohawk. I soften the head in boiling water, and then I pop it off with the sheer force of my giant arms. And I figured I could just, tug off the snakeskin cap, and everyone would be happy, and a rainbow would shine through the trees. But nope, it wasn't that easy. It wasn't that easy. Eventually I had to cut it down the middle and slice it off slowly. There are several gaping holes afterwards, but those will be filled with hair later. I wasn't super worried about that. Speaking of hair, getting that smooth transition. I start by combing out brown, blonde, and black yarn, and then section by section I twist the hair around a bobby pin, and then I dunk those in boiling water. I let them dry, take out the pins, and this does create perfect doll-sized curls, but I recommend curling them after you've done the full reroot, because separating them as I did the reroot made too many single curly hairs rather than sections of a consistent shape of curl like natural hair does. So if you do this, don't do it the way that I did it. See how frizzy it is? That's not good. And I refined the curls later, but I didn't film that, I'm sorry. So, because I'm a little bit insane, I decided to shrink his head after I did the full reroot. So, we got a full head of hair, and now we're gonna soak it in acetone for 2 hours. I forgot to film everything, but it actually worked out just fine. It didn't even affect the curl of the hair, so it wasn't a good idea, but it worked. How do I make a transition from soaking in acetone to clothes? We're working on the clothes now. I made some patterns out of some clothes that I already had. Made the pants a little bit more skin tight than they were originally sewn. And then I extended the bottom of a shirt and cut off the sleeves to make a leotard. I painted a circle in white and then painted Danny's classic star symbol in the middle. Yes, sir. Now for the cape. So I made the pattern off of a cape that I own personally, but I chose to round out the bottom, and this turned out to be a bad choice, but I'll tell you about that in a little bit. I ordered these side hole sequins off of Amazon, and then I overlaid them on the fabric one by one, so that the stitches would be hidden. Let me tell you, I hand sewed a little bit over 1,600 sequins on this damn cape. This cape is the only reason that this project wasn't done in time. I was originally gonna do this for Valentine's Day, but the cape took too long, guys. It took too long. So, for the shoes, Danny wears these pretty dope-looking tennis shoes that are like silver and black and red. They're cool. So I painted some. and they turned out real great. But I compared them to the entire outfit, and they were just too large. They looked a bit like clown shoes, so I had to downsize them a bit, and I painted them in a similar way, and I think they turned out pretty well. Now, Danny wears his underwear on the outside of his clothes, which I'm not sure why anyone has not told him that that is incorrect yet. I made a few trials out of some white fabric, but I wasn't able to make those fit well enough. I needed a stretchy material, so I ended up making them out of the opposite side of the blue fabric. And because I wasn't able to keep them stretchy and keep them form-fitting, I ended up having to sew them onto his outfit. I didn't want it to be like that, but that's just how it was. And now for the best part, the face-up. So first I cover the epoxy sculpt on his knees and arms with pastels, and then I add shading and blushing to the body. And then I move on to the face. I add shadows and highlights to play up the right features that are already present, and then I push back the ones that don't quite match Dan's. I make the eyes one step at a time to match his and add the right color values and play with the tones a little bit. Every time I reach a point where I can't build the colors anymore, I save my progress with a little Mr. Super Clear. Choose a couple different color tones to add to his beard. I added some gray hairs as well. That's not insulting, it's natural. And then in the middle of everything, I decided to give him fingernails and toenails. I debated on sculpting Dan's weird thumbs, but I kinda doubted that I could sculpt that small. But the fingernails did turn out nice. To finish everything off, I add gloss to the eyes, lips, fingernails, and that's it. Now all that's left is to sew on his cape, and boom! He's complete!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, women, especially those over the age of 18, I am very proud to present the elusive, the powerful, the sensual Ninja Sex Party!
Overall, I am super happy with how this custom came out. I wish I had made the cape straight on the bottom, but you know what? Hindsight is 20/20. Alright, that's all for this video. Thank you all for stopping by. Be sure to remember that you are incredibly important. Wash your hands, be safe, take care of each other. Bye! Rubbing acetone. Now that's not a thing. I mean, you can take some acetone and you can rub something with it, but that doesn't make it rubbing acetone. I like to reiterate all of my sentences with choking. It makes a point. I would really like to add that it makes a point. Anyway.